Welcome back to Mywayoffthehwy. We're continuing along the Old Telegraph Track today and stop for a swim at Fruitbat Falls and Elliot Falls just a little further north. We're unwillingly forced to detour off the Old Telegraph Track at Mistake Creek, as pushing the Prado any further north would take us through a creek crossing that was over halfway in depth up the windscreen. We ride the famous Jardine River ferry crossing and we finish with a few nights camping at Punsand Bay before our adventures start again to take us to the most northern tip of the Australian continent. We've just packed up camp in the morning. We're halfway along the Old Telegraph Track. So we just set up a bush camp tonight. We're just going to put the fire out here with some water, grab a few final things, and then we're going to tackle the second half. So yesterday we did 108 kilometers and today we're looking to do about 50 kilometers. So we just found right to the turn off where you leave the developmental road to hit the northern part of the Telly track is where there's a nice little bush camp. So I'll just show you the actual location, because there's no point paying for campsites if you don't want to. And this campsite has got quite a fair bit of room, as you can see. You can light fires there. There's nothing that says no camping. So this is the developmental road. And the developmental road goes and hooks around to the left. And if you were to head right, you would head towards Fruitbat Falls and the second part, or the northern part of the Telegraph Track. So just as you find that turn off, and if you want to bush camp halfway, there's a nice little camp just in here. Plenty of wood around too. Just 2.8 kilometres north of where we camped for the night is Fruitbat Falls, our first place where we're going to stop for the day. So this is one of the locations along the developmental road as you go up to the Cape that you don't need a very modified four-wheel drive to get to. It's just off the developmental road. It's 2.8 kilometres in fact off the road, and the track in is quite easy going into. It's basically a dirt road. So if you stick to the developmental road and drive in here, you can get up here with a basic car. Almost two-wheel drive, but I probably would have pushed it. We're getting in. Should I jump in? Yeah. It's so cold. Whew. Let's go. So you need to be a pretty strong swimmer to get close to the falls. It's like swimming in one of those pools with a current that works against you. Good exercise. See if we can get under. Okay, the current works that strong, Australians even walk up. Now we are. Get in. Nice in. Fruitbat Falls is one of those places that no amount of money or man-made replica could ever showcase its true beauty. You can't buy experiences like this one served up by Mother Nature. If you're planning on stopping here, and you'd be mad if you don't, put aside 2 to 4 hours and have lunch here, a swim, and let the family or friends explore. There's also a campsite here that can give you overnight access if you want to spend more than one day here. Just a little farther north along the Old Telegraph Track is Elliott Falls, one of the last known war places of local Aboriginal tribes who were disputing territory. But within 30 years of the last big battle and as European settlers started arriving, all of the Aboriginal people banded together to protect this place and all of its resources. Not far from Elliott Falls is where the famous explorer Edmund Kennedy was killed by local Aboriginal tribes, and his famous Aboriginal expedition guide Jackie finished the journey to put the place on the map. A government outpost was established here in 1864 with police magistrate John Jardine. His sons were notorious for killing Aboriginal people as they drove cattle around the Cape York Peninsula, and in one instance, whilst herding cattle, they killed up to 72 Aboriginal people in one droving expedition, earning Frank Jardine the name of Devil Man. There is so much Aboriginal and European settlement history at Cape York, so when you do come here, give yourself time to take a step back into that era, put yourself into their shoes and really experience what it was like in those days. Go. I don't want to get in there. I'll jump straight out. Elliott Falls is Mother Nature's water park. It's easy to spend a few hours here, so make sure you allow time in your schedule to do just that. Hayden and I spent quite a lot of time here, and we had so much fun we could have stayed for another day. After leaving Elliott Falls, the Old Telegraph Track continues to twist and turn northwards as you cross multiple little creeks and springs. There's plenty of bush camping spots around and along the track, so give yourself heaps of time and be prepared to stay on the track for a few nights if you don't want to just drive past it all without stopping. Run your left wheel over there, on that bank. Your right wheel here, your left wheel there, on that bank. go. This is Mistake Creek. We were forced to detour off the Old Telegraph Track here, as pushing any further north would have forced us to cross Nolan's Creek, which was more than halfway up the front windscreen in depth. It's important to ask people and the locals about the track conditions and to know the depth of Nolan's when you're tackling the Old Telly Track. If you drive down the Mistake Creek drop-off, there is no way to turn around and get back to the PDR if you discover that Nolan's is too deep, as winching back up Mistake Creek is almost impossible. Basically, if you drive down and through Mistake Creek, the only way out of the Telly Track is through Nolan's, which is infamous for flooding cars and known as the deepest crossing on the track. Make sure you always know the conditions of the next few creek or river crossings in front of you, so you don't get caught out crossing sections of the track that are beyond yours or your vehicle's capabilities. If you detour off the Old Telly Track at Mistake Creek like we did, you'll head along a very rough and rutted, narrower track back to the PDR. The PDR then takes you to the Jardine River Ferry. For $110, you'll get a return ticket across the ferry and camping permits for locations north of the Jardine and around the Cape York Peninsula. After another long day on the Telly Track, Hayden and I decided to camp a few nights and set up base camp at the Punsand Bay Tourist Park. But you can't head north towards the tip or its beaches without first stopping at the famous croc tent. The local owners and their staff know everything and anything about the Cape, and make sure you ask for updates on track conditions before you pass. We're at Punsand Bay Tourist Park, which is amazing. It's a beautiful place. Punsand Bay in itself is very remote. It's still remote Australia, but you'd be surprised at how many people are actually here and the services that Punsand Bay Tourist Park provides. So they've got hospitality, they've got a pizza oven, they do steaks, they do fish, they do chips, salads. So their restaurant is quite extensive. They've got a lot on offer. They've got a swimming pool because you cannot swim around the rivers or the ocean or the beaches here because of the crocs, and it's about a 10 to 15 minute drive to the tip from here, so you're nice and close to everything. On my right hand side to the east, the sun rises over the beach and the curvature of the earth, so you can see a beautiful sunrise in the mornings, and to my left, to the west, you see the sun set over a small mountaintop and a few islands, which is just tranquil. It's beautiful. It's so peaceful. The tourist park offers like chairs and like a bistro area along the beach, so you can get your own little quiet space. And the good thing I like is this tourist park is spread out right along the beach. So we don't have a beach camp spot because I opted and asked them for somewhere where there's no other people. I still want to feel like I'm camping in the bush without having heaps of people around me. Yet I'm just going to do a spin around. You can see nobody camped near me, yet this camp or this tourist park has 200 people in it. 200 and not a person near me. And everyone is spread out. It's great. About a 3-minute walk, not even, 2-minute walk is hot showers, the best showers I've had on this trip so far. Washing machines, sink so you can get hot water and do your dishes. So everything, all the amenities that one needs is really close, but they've got little pockets in the bush, which is what we're in here, that you can camp in, that you can't see the next camp from. Obviously the camp's on the beach, everyone's in each other's pocket, and they opt for that to have that beach location. However, Punsand Bay Tourist Park, big thumbs up for me, 5-star. I highly recommend it if you want to go to the tip. So Punsand Bay, put it on your to-do list and come to the top of Australia. don't think about it, don't plan it. You know, we had seven cars, I think, coming on this trip originally, and for legitimate reasons, everyone had to pull out, and we came anyway, and this is the best trip I've ever done in my life. Stick to it. Punsand Bay Beach. As I said, it's as beautiful as I made it out to be. So it's still very isolated. It's at the top of Australia, about 10 minutes drive from the top, and you can have any part of the beach to yourself. Now this caravan park, like I said, 200 people in it. The shoreline, the beach here is quite busy, but crocs everywhere in the water, so you have to stay at least a fishing rod or a couple of meters away from it.
And my heart's going boom, boom, boom. You're so beautiful. Can you feel it too? Girl, I won't let you go.
I'm inside the Punsand Bay Tourist Park bar. So this place over night time goes off. It's pretty busy. So fully licensed bar. They serve everything: wine, beer, spirits, cocktails, beautiful cocktails indeed. As you can see, it's right on the beach. It's lit up at night. Looks like you're in a Balinese or Thailand bar on the beach. It gives you the atmosphere. It's beautiful, tranquil, peaceful. So this is a little touch of civilization in remote Australia, top end. The Punsand Bay helicopter flights cost between $600 to $800 for up to 3 people for a 20-minute flight. The more people on the flight, the cheaper it is because you get to split the fee between the 3 of you. Hayden and I took the 20-minute flight by ourselves because we asked the pilot to specifically spot for crocs and fly us around the tip of Australia. If you want to see the flight in full, it's an 18 to 20-minute flight, and I'll upload it on a separate video so you can see just the flight by itself. After spending a few nights at Punsand Bay and exploring Cape York, we set off at 5 AM on the day of our departure so we could visit the tip of Australia as the sun rises. This is something that I highly recommend, as no one else was around at the time and we had the tip all to ourselves. The 4-wheel drive track from Punsand Bay takes approximately 1 hour and has very deep and dangerous waterholes that will swallow a car. So make sure you stop by the Croc Tent or the Punsand Bay Tourist Park Info Centre and find out about the crossings and which ones to avoid. We were lucky that we did, because when we did check some of them, they would swallow a car and they were very, very deep and dangerous, and they just looked like shallow and dark puddles. As you can see here, the drive out to the tip in the dark or early morning is spectacular. The colour of the sky changes from reds, blues, greens, pinks to oranges, and you have to see it to believe it.
Looking for a bar in the nearest town. I never Why'd you have to go and drive me so crazy? Now I'm feeling lost without you, and I just can't be.